Good evening, 4-3. Today we're going to start a new lesson, 13-5, Fractions and Decimals on the Number Line. The main question we're going to try to figure out today is how can you locate points on a number line? Here's a number line, and before we can start figuring out this, we need to count how much this number line is broken up into, how many parts it's broken up into. We never begin with the zero. Do not start counting with the zero. We need to start counting after the zero. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's that whole. So let's put down the fraction that represents this whole, 9/9. So we know the denominator, it's broken up into 9 parts, this number line. So now we can actually figure out what our denominator is going to be. It's going to be 9. But what's the numerator? Well, there's the question mark. We need to figure out what this point is. So let's count. Never count the 0. Start with the next one. 1, 2. So this number line, this point on this number line represents 2/9. Here's another number line. First, we have to figure out what this number line is broken up into. And we never start with the 0. So first we're going to start with the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's our whole, and this represents 10/10. So we know that this number line is broken up into 10 parts. But what point are we at here? What's this point? Well, don't start at the 0. We can start with the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this point represents 4/10. Now, thinking about our last lesson on 13-4, what does 4/10 look like as a decimal? Remember, there is no whole. This is not a mixed number. 0 and if we notice that we recognize that the denominator is the 10 in the tenths, we know that the 4 has to be in the tenths place. So 4/10 as a fraction equals 0.4, 0 and 4/10. Okay, here's another number line. Before we start locating the points and what fraction or decimal they may be, we have to figure out what it's broken up into. So we are not going to start with 0, and we have to start counting up to the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This represents 10/10 because that's a whole. So now we know that this number line is broken up into tenths. So I will put my denominator as 10. And what point A? Point A is at where? Let's start. Never count 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the numerator is 6. It's on the 6th part of this decimal. This number line. So it's 6/10. How does 6/10 look like as a decimal? Exactly the way we're saying it. The tenths is telling us what place that the 6 is going to be placed on our decimal place value chart. There is no whole number, so it's going to be 0 and 6/10 because the 6 is in the tenths place. So point A is equal to 0 and 6/10, or the fraction 6/10. Now let's look over here. Notice that we want to find out what point B is at. And if you see, there's a whole number of 1. Don't forget that 1. Let's see what this is broken up into. Don't start counting at 1. Do not start counting at 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There is another whole, 10/10. But don't forget that first whole. So it's really 1 and 10/10. Because what is 1 plus 10/10 equal to? 2 wholes. So now we need to figure out what is going to be what's going to be at point B. And because we're after a whole, this is now going to become a mixed number. So let's bring down our whole, 1, and we know that this number line is broken up into tenths. So we're going to bring down our denominator 10. And point B is at what part? Do not start counting at 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. So point B is at 4. This becomes 1 and 4 tenths. That's our mixed number. But what is 1 and 4 tenths equal to as a decimal? Well, we're going to keep 1, our whole, bring down our 1, and then we're going to need that decimal point. And we know that it's broken up into tenths. So the numerator 4, is going to be placed in the tenths place. 1 and 4 tenths. Just like we would read the mixed number 1 and 4 tenths. All right, let's name the point on the number line for each decimal. We see that it starts with 1 and 30 hundredths, because the 0 is in the hundredths place. And then we're going to start counting. 1 and 31 hundredths, 1 and 32 hundredths, 1 and 33 hundredths, 1 and 34 hundredths, 1 and 35 hundredths. So what was at point A? Point A was 1 and 33 hundredths. What about point B? Point B goes from 1 and 35 hundredths, 1 and 36 hundredths, 1 and 37 hundredths, 1 and 38 hundredths, 1 and 39 hundredths, and then it ends with 1 and 40 hundredths. So point B is at 1 and 39 hundredths. The 9 is in the hundredths place. All right, it's time to see what you have learned from this lesson today. Here's a number line, and I would like you to name the fraction and the decimal for point B. Try another one. What is the fraction and the decimal for point A? Try this number line. What is the fraction for point A? Or, be careful, could be a mixed number too. The last number line that we'll try is this one. What is the decimal for point C? Great job tonight, guys. Can't wait to see how well we can do the practice problems tomorrow. Have a wonderful night.